Hello, 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 it's Teacher Will, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I want to talk about a particular word that I think is important as it relates to you achieving your English goals, and that word is myth. Now, you might ask the question, what does the word mean, myth? Well, when you think about myth, I want you to think about a fallacy or a misconception, generally a particular belief that is held to be true by the majority of people. And in this video, I want to talk about 3 common myths I've heard as it relates to achieving your particular English goals. So before I get into the 3 myths, if you'd be so kind, click on that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that when I drop a video, you are made aware of it. All right, let's talk about myth number 1. Now I'm going to describe the myth and then I'm going to share with you what I think the reality is based on my lived experience. All right. Myth number 1. You must start young or at a very young age to be fluent in English. Let me say, I hear it a lot. That's a particular myth. Here is the sense of reality. You are never too old to learn English. If you are over the age of 18 or 21, or even if you're my age, you can learn English efficiently. You can become fluent in English. What does that require? It requires discipline. It requires practice. It requires having a plan and having a strategy. And also, it requires discipline. But at the end of the day, if you still have breath in your lungs, if you're still able to breathe, you are able to learn English. Possibly true that it might have been easier when you were younger. But listen, I learned to speak French when I was 18 years of age. The goal is to have a strategy, discipline, and practice. So, myth number 1, you must start at a very young age to learn English? Not true. Not true. All right, let's talk about myth number 2, because I hear this a lot, which I understand, but I hear it a lot. Myth number 2, you need perfect grammar before speaking. That is a myth. The reality is communication comes first. Speaking English comes first. Relate it to your mother tongue. If I asked you the question, when did you become fluent in your mother tongue, whatever it is, most people would say 4 or 5, right? But what you did is that you communicated, right? The way I approach grammar, the way that I teach grammar, and I've been teaching over a decade right now, you need perfect grammar before speaking English? No, you need communication and recognizing and realizing that, hey, when you communicate, you're going to make mistakes. That's part of the learning process, no problem. But when you are communicating and you're learning words and phrases and vocabularies, when you have confidence to communicate, you're actually using grammar. Now, if you are a type of person that loves grammar, what I would suggest to you is, hey, become comfortable in speaking naturally, speaking fluently, and when you get to a particular proficiency level, then learn the grammar rules. My mother tongue is English. I did not learn the formal rules of grammar until I was much older. So I communicated first, I became fluent in the language, I had a proper mindset, and then I used and I learned proper grammar. But being perfect in grammar should not impede you to speak. And if you want to learn grammar in a structural way, no problem. But the goal, if English is not your first and native language, communicate first. Because if, for example, if I say I will go to America, or I went to Mexico on vacation, or I lived in Saudi Arabia for over 10 years, That is naturally communicating using grammar. And then when I become more proficient, oh, I live, that's the past simple. Or I will go on vacation, that's the future. So communicate first. And one last thing, being perfect in grammar or perfect, for me, I understand that practice makes perfect. I understand that's an idiom. But for me, don't necessarily believe in that concept. I would rather progress in my English, because sometimes being perfect in grammar and being perfect in speaking sometimes prevents learners from actually using English. Myth number 3. Listen to this one. Myth number 3. Living in an English-speaking country guarantees fluency. Living in an English-speaking country guarantees fluency. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a myth. What guarantees fluency is active practice, not just exposure. Let me say that again. Being fluent in English requires active practice, active immersion, using the language, using English, not just exposure. Why do I say that? I live in Chicago, in the United States of America, and there are people that I know that have lived here for 30, 40 years, and all they are able to do still after living in Chicago in the United States of America is just only speak their mother tongue. So, does it help if you live in a native speaking country? Sure, it might help. But if you don't practice, if you don't use it, if you don't make the language part of your life, exposure means nothing. It is practicing. It is making English part of your life. So that is a big one. Progress in your English, it requires making English part of your life. You can be exposed to something, but if you're not using it, if you're not making it part of your life, what does it matter? So that is a huge, huge myth. So those are the particular myths as it relates to English. You can learn English at any age. You don't need to have perfect grammar to speak. And you certainly, if you live in a native English-speaking country, it requires practice. It requires immersion. Exposure is nice, but if you don't use it, you will lose it. That's what I have for you in the video. So, what do you think about the video? Have you ever heard of these myths? Let me know in the comments section. I hope that by watching this video, I caused you to think a little bit. I hope I motivated you, inspired you to achieve your English goals. And when people come with that particular myth, if they do, then let them know that Teacher Will said, you know what? It's just a myth. And you and me, we're going to make English our own by living it, by breathing it, by being immersed in it. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's English, whether it's losing weight, whether you want to get a new job, whether you want to continue your education, whatever it is, whatever your particular goal is, the one thing that I've recognized in my life, if I want to be successful at something, it takes a proper mindset, it takes practice, it takes a plan, and it takes discipline. Thank you very much for listening. Again, this is Teacher Will. Click on that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that when I drop a video, you are made aware of it. Until next time.